All right. We live. Guess who's back in the... Sorry. Hey, your girl is here. Your girl is here. Hang on. Let me turn off my phone. My phone was buzzing so much yesterday. I'm like, Lord have mercy. People don't call you until you're doing something. You know how that is. Otherwise, your phone ain't ringing until you get busy doing something that everybody won't call you, talking and stuff. Hey, how y'all doing today? Guess what, y'all? It is Thursday, May the 4th. I can't even start this date off. I can't even start it off. Before I even introduce myself, I'm going to tell y'all what today is, May the 4th, Thursday, one of the greatest days, because my mama was born today, y'all. It's my mama's birthday. Give my mama a happy birthday, y'all. Y'all say happy birthday to my mama. My mama is... How old is my mama today? Wait a minute. 23, 70. Ooh, wait a minute. 73 today. Is my mama 73 today? Oh, I can't even remember. Wait a minute. Let me get my math right. Yeah, I think she's 73 today. Ooh, I'm slipping. I'm gonna have to make sure. Today, at this moment right now, she's gonna be 73. Nevertheless, it's her birthday. For some reason, I'm feeling like it should be 74. Whatever. I'm happy. My mama is still on this side of heaven. That's what matters to me. It's my mama is still on this side of heaven, y'all. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I feel so blessed. You know what I'm saying? There was a period of time where, you just don't appreciate your parents. When you're younger, you don't appreciate your parents. You just don't. I mean, you just don't. You know what I mean? Like, you don't realize all the sacrifices. You don't realize all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. Like, you just don't. You have no idea. You know what I mean? And then in your little teenage mind, I just remember being so judgmental. Why she doing this? Or why she doing that? Why she with this person? Ugh. All of the stuff. But my big mama, she said stuff like, if you want to know why somebody is doing something, just keep living. You know what I mean? When you judging somebody else and what they doing, keep living. You know what I'm saying? I feel like God always bring that thing around. Like if you ask the question, why somebody always, don't they come back around where you get a little better understanding when you like, I was messing with a guy like that in my grown years, and my mama was messing with, and I got to understand why she stayed. Got a little better understanding. Like, don't that happen? And so I'm here to say I am so grateful for my mother, Miss Lily Ann Newkirk Brown, honey. That is my mama. She is a beautiful spirit. Still thank God on this side of heaven. And my mom is my best friend. My mom is like my everything. And I love the fact that each of us, all of us, my siblings, we all have our own relationship with my mom. And she is that person, you know what I mean, that you can call. I can call. I'm going through anything. I can call and talk to her about it. And she's going to listen. And she's going to listen to me cry. And she's going to encourage me. She's going to help pick me back up. My mom is my biggest cheerleader, and I know that. And I'm grateful for it. Everybody can't say that. When you think about what a mom is supposed to do and whatever, is she perfect? Not at all. Has she made mistakes when she was younger? Who the hell hasn't? Right? Who hasn't? I know I have as a young mother. I definitely did some things I shouldn't have did. I said some stuff I shouldn't have said. So, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I feel like the fact that she has spent, most of her adult life that I know of just trying to be better, right? And that's what I find myself just trying to be better than I was the day before because my mom has given me that example. You know what I mean? The relationship that I have and that I want with my ex-husband, raising a child outside of a marriage and a divorce that didn't work out. We could talk. Me and my ex-husband could talk. I don't have to be like, oh, all of that stuff because what? I had the example from my mom and my dad. Why does it have to be all this crazy friction and fussing and cussing? Like, it's not about you. It's about the children. Got that from my mom. This foundation of faith, this faith walk that we taking and we doing, guess where it started? It started with my mom. And so watching her and how she dealt with things and stuff when she was struggling and going through and crying, and it seemed like it wasn't going to be like no way out of the crazy. And I would watch her just in the midst of storms. My love for the choir, because I used to watch my mom at Centennial Methodist Church down there in Baltimore. Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember the street name that it's on, but Centennial, they got it boarded up now. But we used to be in there. She used to be in there singing. Oh my God, they look so pretty in their choir robes and singing and swaying. You know. And then when the church anniversary come down, they was, we are soldiers. Yeah, like all of that stuff. Like, all that started with my mom, you know what I mean? And so it is like, what are some things that you appreciate about your mother? Like you gotta give it up, even if they weren't the best mother. Like think about some positive things. Like what positive can you pull from the crazy? Right? That's what we doing. Then I just wanted to give a shout out to my mama, y'all, because it's her birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. She on a cruise right now. She getting her life. I'm trying to be like my mama when I grew up in when I retire. I want to be like this before I retire. Actually, let me not even tell that lie. I'm trying to get there before I retire. I'm trying to go on cruises and do some traveling and everything and enjoy life, y'all, while I'm on this side of heaven. And so, look, that's why we're reading this book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's why we're doing this, because it all plays a role in your mental health. Taking the time to enjoy life. This was like lesson one that Mr. Robert Kiyosaki talked about. He talked about living, not living your life just to go to work on autopilot, go to work every day, go 40 years to work at a job for 40 years and then get the pension and then, oh, now I can enjoy life. No. No. No, that's not what we're doing. That's not what I'm doing. I don't think that's living. I'm sorry. That's not what I'm doing. So I'm your girl, Michelle Franklin. If you don't know me, Miss Michelle D.I. just means divine intervention, honey. It means there are no coincidences on this here side of heaven. Only the God's divine intervention in our lives. That's what I truly believe. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in Romans 8 and 28. In every situation, that is the good, the bad, and the crazy. It is all working together for some greater good. You mean when something bad happens, it was meant to happen? Hey, you know what? We don't know why the bad things happen. And we can wallow in the bad things. We can wallow in what happened to us. You can stay stuck. But guess what? Life is still lifing. People are still going. Things are going to move on, whether you move on or not. Right? And once you get up and dust yourself off again, guess what? You're going to have to put up one foot in front of the other eventually. So is it okay to be sad? It's okay to be sad. Is it okay to have a bad day? Of course. It's okay to have a bad day, but to wallow in that thing. And sometimes we sit and we stay stuck in things and we don't even know that we're stuck in things. That's why I'm doing this. That's how I started. That's how all of this started. This Miss Community Builder that I am. It just means that I bring information. I care about the community. If I hear some good stuff, I'm like, oh my God, I need to share that. Everybody needs to know about this. Right? So when I bring it to you, know that it's gold because girl done researched it. I done researched it. I done tried it out myself. And I'm like, yo, this works. This is great. You need to try this. It's good. It works. It's good. Right? Because I was stuck, y'all. I was stuck. After my big mama and my dad passed away, I was stuck. I was stuck and didn't even know I was stuck. The subconscious is so strong. And so now what do? I spend my extra time. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 22 years, but I thought that was my purpose. But now I know for sure my gift is my voice. My mama, she prayed for my voice. As a young girl, when she found out she was pregnant with me, guess what? She prayed that I would be the opposite of her, that I would use my voice. I didn't know that that was a gift. She said, I'm the reason that she knows that God exists. What does that mean? That means that I had purpose in me, in my mama's womb. And I believe that you have purpose in you, in your mama's womb. That's what my good book say. You ain't got to be a Christian. Ain't nobody trying to push no Christianity or whatever on you if that's not what you are. But I'm here to tell you that there's something bigger. Did Beyonce say that? There's something bigger. There's something greater. Mr. Les Brown says there's greatness in you. Whether you believe it or not, it's in there. Everything that you need, you already have. I have to tap into that. I had to know that for myself. I had to figure that out. Right? What do you mean, Michelle? People that know me like, girl, you was an A and B student. You were always good. You always did this and you always did, yeah. And there's a lot of people out there that, apparently look like everything is fine. It looks like everything is good because aren't we good? We're just going and being and doing and putting that front on and acting like everything is fine. We are. Statistically, it says 1 out of 5 people are struggling with some kind of mental health situation. That is depression, anxiety, panic attacks, PTSD. 1 in 5. I believe it's more than that because, that's just the people that we know about. Ain't nobody asked me no questions. I ain't in the number. Anybody ask you some questions? You struggle with being sad sometimes? Do you struggle with insomnia, staying up at night? Okay, it's just me. I'm just saying. I believe it's way more than that. I believe it's at least half people struggling. I call it suffering in silence. Because that's what we do. Like, it's so easy. You know what I mean? It's so easy to go out and when you on your routine and your day-to-day, because that was me. If I'm out and I'm going to work and I'm doing and I'm whatever, I'm happy, I'm going, I'm doing, I'm being, I'm in my regular routine on autopilot. But I would get home. After my big mama and my dad passed away, I was sad. I was way sad for longer than what I should have been. 2 years later, I'm still hitting the snooze button trying to figure out why I can't get out the bed. I'm losing space and time. I'm having panic attacks. I didn't even realize it. I'm driving and I would see a white and black Blazer. That's what my dad used to drive before he passed away. And all of a sudden, I'm in another place. I feel like I'm drowning all of a sudden. Right? So I didn't know. And I was a nurse at that time. Like I said, I've been a nurse for 22 years and I didn't know. I was in darkness and did not even know that I was in darkness because I'm so used to just continue to walk. Being a little helper bee that I am, I'm just out here helping everybody else, honey. I wasn't helping myself. Is that what we do? We help everybody else? It's so easy. It's so easy to go over to somebody else's house and clean it up and your house dirty. Yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's so easy, right? To tell somebody else what they can do and should do and would be able to do and blah, 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 and all this stuff. Girl, you know what? I heard that you need to do so and so. We're not doing it. We're not doing it for ourselves, right? So I'm just saying, take some time, all us helper bees in the world. That's what your girl is doing. I took some time out to take care of me, to get very intentional about my life. Why am I making the choices that I'm making? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? I can't stay in this darkness subconsciously. I want to get off of autopilot and I want to live. And that's my purpose, is to help people to get off autopilot, to help people to live consciously in this world, because the subconscious controls us and we don't even know it. Fear is, fear is like that relationship, that good boyfriend that's really, really bad for you, but you know you're not supposed to be with him, but you sneaking to be with him anyway. That's how fear is. I picture fear like it's like the best thing ever. Like it feel like it's so good. You don't even realize it is bad because it's undisguised itself. It looks really, really nice and handsome and good. That good man, like Billy D. Williams back in the day, good, like Mahogany Diana Ross, like he looked good. Billy D was good though in the movie, so I don't know if I should use that as a reference. But nevertheless, he looked good like Billy D, but he's not. Like Little Red Riding Hood, like the sheep and wolves, the wolf in sheep's clothing, right? That's what it is. It's like, it's disguised. You don't even know you hanging out with fear. Like you don't even know. You've been hanging out with him for so long. That's your homeboy. That's like your best friend. That's like the person that just come and hit that thing just right. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, I did. It feels so good. It make you feel so good. You don't even know. Fear got to go. The fear got to go. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you have some purpose. You have some greatness, like Mr. Les Brown says. I say, you have some God in you that needs to show up and show out. How do I know all this? Because I am you and you are me, honey. I felt like if I'm going through this, I know some other people going through this too. I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one that feel this way. And so I decided a couple of weeks ago, the Lord gave me this faith walk, because faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And some of you know my nephew passed away a few weeks ago. And the first time that I went to visit my brother, I was driving back and I had this sense of hopelessness. I had this sense of helplessness. Let me say that. I had this sense of helplessness. Like, certain situations, you don't have the words. There's nothing you can do to fix it. Like, you want to fix it. I'm a fixer. I've been a fixer since I was a little. I've always been a fixer. I've always been able to make situations better. Always. Right. I was young. I used to talk my brother out of running away from home. I've always been able to say something. I couldn't fix this situation for him. As bad as I wanted to take it away, I couldn't fix it for my nieces. I couldn't fix it for myself. I just had to sit in that thing. But I was praying and I was asking God to just, give me something. Like, Lord, what can I do? And I kept seeing hopelessness. Hopelessness. There's a feeling of hopelessness out in the world. where you think in your mind, nothing is going to fix this. I'm in this thing alone. Nobody cares. Or I don't even want to bring anybody into the situation. I'm going to just handle it myself. You don't have to do that. You don't have to struggle by yourself. You are not alone. When I realized, again, statistically, 1 in 5 people are out there suffering in silence with something. It's 8 million people in the world. It's a lot of people. You're not the only one, right? And when I realized, once I started sharing my story, I realized how many more people were out there and how many people had endured what I had endured. I've been molested before. You start saying that, people are like, oh my God, I have been. Oh my God, I had that happen to me. I've been raped before. Oh my God, I had that happen to me. Oh my God, I shared that story. I've had an abortion before that's made some bad decisions. Oh my God, I have to. Oh my goodness, I've had a lot of shame and guilt about that thing. Man, I have to. Right? There's so many things. I've experienced so much trauma. But we don't even process it as trauma because we're so used, again, to just going and doing and being. So trauma. What? I was diagnosed with PTSD in September. I'm like, what? I ain't never been in the army. What you mean? PTSD? Are you serious? Are you sure? Is the test results right? But after I thought about that thing, I've been in some pretty traumatic situations. I've been in some traumatic situations, more than I care to admit. But I'm talking about it. You know why? Because we don't talk about it. For some reason, we think it's embarrassing, it's shameful, it's weak to say, I've had some suicidal thoughts. It's not weak, it's real. Things get dark. You want to know, when is it going to be over? When? And sometimes it's so damn dark, you can't see when it's going to be over. So it does feel hopeless. You do feel like, oh my goodness, let me just get up out of this. But I'm here to tell you, yeah, it's dark. No, I don't know how long you're going to be in it, but I do know that if you just keep walking, there's a light down there, just right down that way. It's like, because I've been in darkness before. Where I couldn't see nothing else, and I felt like I was so alone. And even when you feel like you're alone, you're not. You're not. You hear all this negative self-talk and all of these things, and it doesn't matter. Nobody cares, and all of this stuff. But it does matter. You do matter. Somebody loves you in this world. You have had an effect on somebody. Somebody out there is looking for you. Somebody out there does not want to be on the front row. Don't want to be on the front row. Don't. Right? We don't think about it like that when we're in that situation. We don't think about anybody else. It's really because you do feel so alone. But again, I'm here to tell you, keep walking. There's light. It's coming. Trouble don't last always. Storms are going to come. Oh, and I can't stand storms. Texas storms are the worst. They bring thunder, tornadoes, like the wrath. You ever had situations where it's been so crazy? It's like, oh my God, what the hell? Oh my God, when is this going to be over? We've all had them, right? But guess what? You've had them. What does that mean? That they passed. You survived. It's not the first thing. It's not the first thing that's going to come. It's not going to be the last. Unfortunately, it'll be something else you might go through. But guess what? You will know the next time. Oh, I just got to keep walking because the light is coming. It's down there somewhere. I don't know when it's going to be over, but it's coming. That's faith. That's faith. Faith is the substance of things so far I can't see it. I don't have the answer, but I know for sure. I'm in darkness, but there is a light inside of me. It might be shimmering, flickering, and it might be like I feel like I'm low on fuel. It's shimmering, it's about to go out, but it's still in there because you still have breath in your body. So just keep walking. Just keep walking. One of the things that made me feel some kind of way is when I'm not in, my finances aren't right. And so that's why we're reading this Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is significant for me. And I said this before, it's significant because I don't read. I don't take time to read books. I just really don't. I don't have that kind of time, nor do I have the kind of energy. But I believe in the Trinity. I believe when I hear things in three, I pay attention to them. I believe that God is going to send me a message. I pray for God to talk to me, to send me a message. And so it is. It's not the like it's gonna this big voice is gonna come down, right? But it is what are you paying attention to? Because there are signs of God all around us. There are signs that He's trying to tell you something. What are you talking about? You're gonna turn on Facebook, you're gonna hear a message, your friend gonna say something, somebody gonna say something to you. It's gonna come around to you some kind of way. Your mama gonna say something to you. Somebody gonna say something to you. You're gonna get that message. I get it in threes. When I hear it in threes, I'm like, okay, I need to pay attention to this. Again, because we don't believe in coincidences. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. So everything that I was feeling like I'm being very intentional about elevating my finances. And everything that I was watching, I kept hearing about this book. It just so happened to be the 25th anniversary of the book last year, 2022. And so they have extra tips and tricks and all that stuff in here and extra messages. And so we're reading. This is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so we started off with the introduction day before yesterday. Yesterday was chapter 1, which was lesson 1. And lesson 1 was the rich don't work for money. That was a word to me. The rich don't work for money. Now, I'm going to do this because instead of going into lesson 2, I'm just going to review real quick because he has this review. So, chapter 1, summary. When he was 9 years old, Robert Kiyosaki and his childhood friend weren't invited to a classmate's beach house because they were poor kids in an affluent school. After being told by his poor dad, his father, who was a teacher and made a good living, but always struggled to make ends meet, to simply go and make money, he and his friend Mike did just that. They collected empty toothpaste tubes, which at that time were made of lead. They melted them down and used plaster molds to make counterfeit nickels. That story tickled me. They were soon set straight by Robert's dad, who told them they should talk to Mike's dad, who never finished the 8th grade but ran multiple successful businesses. Mike's dad, the rich dad of the book title, agreed to teach them, but on his terms. He had them work 3 hours every Saturday morning at one of his convenience stores, dusting the food packaging and cleaning. He paid them 10 cents an hour, when Robert usually spent on when which Robert usually spent on a 10-cent comic book. Fairly quickly, Robert grew disenchanted with the boring work and low pay. When he told his friend he was going to quit, Mike told him that his dad said that would happen and that Robert needed to meet with him. Robert's dad, as a school teacher, used lectures, but Mike's dad was a man of few words and taught in a very different way, which Robert was about to find out. I'm sorry for the pause. I'm like, wait a minute, I keep losing my spot. The next Saturday morning, Robert went to Mike's dad's, but was waiting in a dusty, dark living room for an hour. He was fed up and emotionally by the time he got to complain to Mike's dad, accusing him of being greedy and not showing him respect. When he said Mike's dad hadn't taught him anything, despite their agreement, the business owner calmly disagreed. His rich dad explained that life doesn't teach you with words, but by pushing you around. Some people let life push them around, and others get angry and push back against their boss or their loved ones. But some people learn a lesson from it, and in fact, welcome life pushing them around because it means that they need to learn something. Those who don't learn that lesson spend their lives blaming everyone else and waiting for a big break, or decide to play it safe and never risk or win big. He told Robert that he and Mike were the first people who had ever asked him to teach them how to make money. He had more than 150 employees, and though they had asked for a job, they had never asked for the knowledge that Robert and Mike wanted. So the rich dad decided to create a course that mirrored life and pushed the boys around a little bit. Robert asked what lesson he'd learned other than his rich dad was cheap and exploited his workers. The rich dad challenged him on this, saying that most people blamed others when in fact that attitude was a problem. What would solve the problem? His brains, Mike dad told him. He wanted Robert to learn how money worked so he could make it work for him. He was also glad that Robert was angry because anger combines with love to create passion, a key component of learning. Money wouldn't solve people's problems, he went on. Many people who have a high-paying job still struggle with money problems, like Robert's poor dad, because they didn't know how to make money work for them. He said that the emotions Robert had felt working for those 10 cents an hour, disappointment, and feeling like it wasn't enough was what he felt like his whole life if he didn't learn this lesson now. He introduced Robert to the concept of taxes, explaining that the poor and middle class allows the government to tax them, but the rich don't. He asked if Robert still had a passion to learn. When he said yes, his rich dad told him he was going to stop paying him for the work at the store. He told Robert to use his head to figure it out. Robert and Mike worked for free for 3 weeks. Mike's dad showed up and took them outside for a talk, asking if they learned anything yet. They hadn't. The rich dad told them if they didn't learn this lesson, they'd be like most people who worked hard for little money their whole lives. He offered them 25 cents an hour, which they resisted. He upped it to $1 an hour and then $2. But Robert stayed silent. A final offer of $5 an hour, a pricey sum at that time, this was in 1956, y'all, solidified for Robert that he wouldn't be bought. The rich dad said it was good they didn't have a price. Most people did, because their lives are controlled by fear and greed. Fear of being without makes them work hard and earn a paycheck. But once they have the money, greed gets them thinking about all the things they could buy, which makes them need more money, which makes them spend more. It's what the rich dad called the rat race. He told the boys that the first step was admitting to themselves what they were feeling. Too often, people reacted to their reactions. He reacted to their emotions instead of thinking logically. They're afraid to admit money is running their lives, and so money controls them. It's not just the poor who face that fear. The rich often operate from a place of fear. He wanted to teach the boys to not just be rich because money doesn't solve the problem. School is important, he told them, but for most people, it's the end, but not the beginning. And the key for the boys was to learn to use their emotions to think, not to think with their emotions. They must learn to choose their thoughts. That's one of the things that I teach. Everything is a choice. How are you looking at that thing? Are you looking at it from, your tunnel vision view? Are you open enough to think outside the box and allow something else different to come in? They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So what are you doing? Right? What are you doing? I'm going to read that again. The key for the boys was to learn to use their emotions to think. Most of us let our emotions take over and control us, not to think with their emotions. They must learn to choose their thoughts. Everything is a choice. He told them to keep an eye out for ways to make money, saying the moment you see one opportunity, you'll see them for the rest of your life. The boys did, and soon they saw an opportunity in creating a library where kids could pay an admission fee and read as many comic books as they could in 2 hours. Unsold comic books that otherwise would have been thrown away from the convenience store. They made a great profit, and the business did well for about 3 months until a fight in the library shut it down. But they learned the first lesson of making money work for them, even when they weren't physically present. They were ready to learn more, and Mike's dad was ready to teach them. So this is the left hemisphere. So they say the left brain and the right brain. And it's amazing that this is even saying this because I just watched a video about left and right brain thinkers and how the left brain is this logical side, whereas the right brain thinkers are more of your creative people. And so this says left hemisphere moment. Despite having a high paying job, people like Robert's poor dad struggled to make ends meet. A right hemisphere moment is looking at the discarded comic books in a new creative way, led to a business opportunity. A subconscious moment. People let the emotions of fear and greed rule their lives. What was Robert saying? Now it's time to reflect. Ask yourself, what is Robert saying in this quote? And why does he say that? He asked that a lot all throughout the book. In this section, you do not need to agree or disagree with Robert. The goal is to understand what Robert is saying. Remember, this curriculum is designed to be cooperative and supportive. Two minds are better than one. If you do not understand what Robert is saying, do not shy away from it. Ask for help in understanding. Take the time, discuss each quote until you understand it. So these are the quotes. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. Life pushes all of us around. Some people give up and others fight. A few learn the lesson and move on. They welcome life pushing them around. I think for me, I think that first one is, it is what it is. It's self-explanatory. But life pushing all of us around, again, is perspective. It is feeling like, I have to work. I saw myself in all of this, like working for a job and waiting for your raise and waiting for your review and then hoping, that you will get what you want for your raise, or is it going to be 25 cents or 10 cents? And oh my God, and you all stressed out and waiting and trying. And I saw myself in all of that because I stopped working. I quit my job in November, and it was mainly because it was affecting my mental health. I had situations and other things that I just don't want to get into, but nevertheless, it was affecting my mental health enough. I would have never thought I would even be in a situation like that. But because I was in a situation like that, and I feel like the leadership was lacking and was not leading, and it put me in a situation where I had to choose. Was I going to stay in a situation, or was I going to leave and understand, one, my worth, because the biggest thing for me was, if I've been in a place for 7 to 8 years, I'm working, I'm coming in, I'm busting my ass. We just finished all of this COVID crazy. I am there for the crazy. I'm there when people are calling out. I'm there when people beside me are not working. I'm doing work, her job, his job, everybody's damn job. And you don't see that. That's not on me. Right? And I felt like life pushing all of us around. I could have sat there and I could have whined and I could have been like, I've been doing all this work and y'all don't see me and blah, blah, blah. But you know what I did instead? I said, you know what? I've been busting my ass. I'm like, if I've been busting my ass and y'all don't see me, you're accusing me of things that I wouldn't even do. So I've been here with you for 8 years and you don't know me? Whose loss is that? Not mine. You know what I'm saying? Not mine. Right? Okay, Lord. It must be somewhere else that you want me to be. I could stay there and complain and wallow and whine and blah, blah, blah. Or I could take a breath, right? We could take a breath. Okay, Lord. I guess at this point, it's been 7.5 years. I guess it's time to go now. I thought that I was going to be here and possibly retire or whatever else. I don't know. But that's not in God's plans for me. So I'm open enough to hear when it's time to shift. That's a little push from life, right? How are you handling the pushes? Life pushes all of us around. Some things are going to happen and you're going to be like, what the hell? Why is this happening to me? Is it why is this happening to me? Or what is this teaching me? What lesson am I supposed to learn? In that lesson, it was, Michelle, love yourself enough. Know who you are in this world. You know what you bring to the table. I'm not going to try to convince anybody of what I bring to the table. I've been here working. You know what I bring to the table, whether you admit it or not. That's in relationship, that's at work, that's in situationships, that's in friendships, in family, friends, uh, heartache, all of it. Life pushes us all around. Some people give up and others fight. A few learn the lessons and move on. They welcome life pushing them around. It's a sign. Lord, what else you got for me? The next quote is, stop blaming me and thinking I'm the problem. If you think I'm the problem, then you have to change me. If you realize that you're the problem, then you can change yourself, learn something, and grow wiser. That's an amazing quote. Stop blaming me and thinking I'm the problem. That was the rich dad talking to little Robert when he was telling him, um, you need to give me a raise, and I've been out here working and you haven't taught me anything, and blah, 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 blah. Right? He was saying, stop blaming me and thinking I'm a problem. At the end of the day, you have a choice. It's a beautiful thing. You have a choice. Why are you sitting there pointing your finger? I said this the other day. You got 3 fingers pointing back at you. So stop blaming me. Stop blaming other people for your problems. What can you do? What can you do different? Is there anything you can do different? If you're on a job and you feel like some things are whatever and you want to stay, is there something you can do different? Or is it time for you to move around? It says, if you think I'm the problem, then you have to change me. We don't have any control over anybody else but ourselves. Oh my God, that was like my biggest lesson in 2021. I only have control over me. I was trying to figure out, well, why they do this and why they do that and why come they can't do it like this and why they making that choice. Why? I don't understand why people doing the things that they do. God, this is crazy to me. Why would they say that? How much energy and how much time I wasted trying to figure out why somebody doing something crazy. I have a choice. I have a choice. I can't change that person. I can't change them from I can't change that manager from being a lazy manager and not investigating all of the things that people were saying that this one person said I was doing and I wasn't. It's lazy management. Do I want to stay under lazy management? I have a choice. No, I can't change. I can't change that lazy manager. I can change me. I can change this environment that I'm in. I have a choice whether I stay or whether I don't. You have a choice in every situation. You have a choice. You can't change people. Why are you sitting there trying to figure out why they doing what they doing? How long you gonna do that? Because they're gonna continue to be who they are, right? The next one, when it comes to money, most people want to play it safe and feel secure. So passion does not direct them, fear does. It is very, and this is just a transparent moment, y'all. It is very uncomfortable to be in this space. I'm about to be 46 in 10 days. I have never not had a full-time 9 to 5. Never. Never. But I've been doing this teaching. I've been doing this for years now. It is something that I love. It's something that I understand. This is why I'm on this side of heaven. I have work to do. I will say things that won't nobody else say. I will teach in a way that won't nobody else teach. I will have somebody to understand something because it's coming from me. People will pay attention because it's coming from me, because I don't say things with malice. If I'm telling you something, it is because I truly believe I'm trying to help you. I want to help you. I genuinely want what's best for you. And so I'm going to say something that somebody else going to say, oh, that might hurt their feelings. And I'm going to say, no, that's going to help them to live. When I have people calling me on the phone, talking about they had chest pain for 3 days, I can't say, oh, are you okay? Really? What? No, sir, because it's always a man. Sir, you need to be seen today. Do you want to walk? Do you want your family to walk in the house and find you passed out? Is that what you want for your wife, for your daughters, for your sons? You want them to find you in the driveway? Because that's what's going to happen. I can't dress this up for you. It's some things you can put some sugar on and some things you can't. 3 days of chest pain? I'm not putting no sugar on that. And some people are like, oh my God, did she just say that? Yep, I did. Because you know why? I'm trying to save your freaking life. Get your butt to the hospital. And you know why, too? I'm so passionate about it. Because I had a man that called that had been having chest pain for 3-4 days and was refusing to go to the emergency room. And I finally convinced the man, well, sir, if you won't go to the emergency room, will you just come to the office? Because I know if he came to the office, we want to send him to the emergency room. So I was just trying to get him somewhere safe, right? So I said, if you just come to the office, sir. He finally agreed to come to the office. The man got to the office. He was so diaphoretic. What does diaphoretic mean? Sweating. His little bald head, I can still see it to this day. Beads of sweat is dripping. He's breathing fast, short of breath. He can't hardly catch his breath. I'm like, call 911. We're trying to get him calm. Next thing I know, ambulance come. The hospital is across the street, y'all. The hospital is across the street. You know what happened? He died before they got him across the street. So understand that it's some things I can't sugarcoat. And I know that. And then there's other times where I'm going to take some time with you and I'm going to explain it a little bit better. But some things, hey, sir, no, ma'am, no. That's who I am. That is my purpose, right? You got to understand who you are in this world. What is your purpose? What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about helping people to live. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally live. I did not know that fear was subconsciously holding my ass hostage, and it had been for years. I didn't know. How did I find out? Because when I separated from my ex-husband, I wasn't with another man in a serious relationship for another 13, 14 years, 12 years. And after that relationship, I got into the next relationship. And guess what? After that 12 years, after that, man, guess what happened? I wasn't open to another relationship for over 20 years together. Totally had passed that I was allowing fear. You know what I was saying? Oh, no, I don't want to be married again. Oh, no, I ain't doing that relationship stuff again. Oh, no, I ain't messing around with that love stuff no more. What did that translate into? What does that translate into? Fear. What does that mean? I just don't want to get my heart broken again. I just don't want to put myself out there and have somebody to hurt me again. That's what that translates into. And so when he say, when it comes to money, most people want to play it safe and feel secure in each and everything. Not just in money, in every aspect of your life. Are you playing it safe? At some point, in order for me to find my husband, because now I'm open to one. But in order for me to find my husband, guess what? I got to be open. Got to put myself out there. Got to say something. You can't just stay closed up in here, girl. How they going to find you? Right? So your passion does not direct them. Fear does. You can't allow fear to rule your life, guys. That's the point. You can't allow fear to rule your life. Not in your finances. Not in nothing. Next, most people given more money only get into more debt. Most people given more money only get into more debt. And that is because we are financially illiterate. We don't know. We're not taught, right? Especially African Americans. I mean, we are the worst with money. We are very flashy and blingy and trying to keep up with the Joneses and all of this stuff, right? I'm always looking at my lips like, oh, they so dry. I'm prepared for that. Right? We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We're trying to do what everybody else is doing. We got to take a trip to Dubai. Why? Because Steve Harvey took a trip to Dubai. Why? Why are you trying to do that? Who over there? Who you know over there? Who over there that you know? But we do these things, right? Trying to just keep up and do what other people are doing. If it's genuinely you want to go over to Dubai, I mean, I ain't got nothing against Dubai. Hey, y'all. I'm just saying. But if you going just because your girlfriend going, or you doing it just because, that's not the thing to do. We just spend and we stay in debt. What are you saving? A lot of people going on these trips, they ain't got no house. They don't own no cars. They might own a car, but they don't have no house. You ain't got no savings. What you leaving for your children's children, right? It's fear that keeps most people working at a job. The fear of not paying their bills, the fear of being fired, the fear of not having enough money, the fear of starting over. That's the price of studying to learn a profession or a trade and then working for money. Most people become a slave to money and then get angry at their boss. I was like, this is hard. That's hard because, we got to pay our bills. How you going to pay your bills? But it is finding a way that you can use your gifts and what you're passionate about to create, a supplemental income where you're not a slave to some grandiose corporation that doesn't appreciate you. At least that was my take of it. Most people do not know that it's their emotions that are doing the thinking. I got a whole program about this. A job is a really short-term solution to a long-term problem. It's just like the picture of a donkey dragging a cart with its owner dangling a carrot just in front of his nose. The donkey's owner may be going where he wants to go, but that donkey is chasing an illusion. Tomorrow, there will only be another carrot for the donkey. Poor baby. Additional questions. Now it's time to take the stories in this chapter along with the understanding of what Robert was saying and apply them to you and your life. Ask yourself the questions below and discuss them with your study partner. Be honest with yourself and your partner. If you do not like some of the answers you are giving, ask yourself if you are willing to change and accept the challenge to change your thoughts and mindset. Number one is, how common is the approach to money taken by Robert's poor dad? How common is it? I think it's very common. Everybody wants to work a job. I think, you know what, but in 2023, I think entrepreneurship is becoming um, more and more something that people are grasping. I know before I started this week. I went to visit my dad. I went to the gravesite the other day, and I went to visit my grandfather. My grandfather is Mr. Roscoe Allen, and he passed away in 1978. I was born in 77. And so I was just a little over a year when he passed away. And one of the things that I admire about him the most is his thought of legacy. I've never met him. And anytime you hear me talk about him, you're going to hear me say this, that he left a legacy behind. I mean, over 40 years, and you still hear people talk about his legacy. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. He had 13 children, and he was of the community. You know, even though he had 13 children, his house was the house where people would come if they needed help, right? Um, my dad, his sisters, you know, my aunts, they would bring people home. My Aunt Betty talks about her little girlfriend that didn't have a sandwich at school to eat. And so she would bring the little girl home so she could eat dinner with them, you know, because the little girl ain't have nowhere to eat. And so I know in my mind, like if I had 13 children, like I always say this because it baffles me. If I had 13 children and mouths to feed, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out these 13. I don't be bringing no extra mouths in here. Right? And so, but just the thought of entrepreneurship, um, I love this story when my dad told me he would go to houses and they would do the yard. My aunts would, they would take the drapes down and they would wash the drapes, right? And they would shine, because that was when they had gold spoons and plates and stuff. And so they would shine. He would charge, 5 cents a spoon, and they would shine the spoons, right? And things like that. But everybody had a job. All of my aunts and uncles as growing up, they all had a job. They all had somebody's house. And so it was like, the richer people in the neighborhood, I mean, in the area of Tyler, Texas, is where, is why my grandfather and my dad and my aunts, they're all known so well. The Allen name is very well respected in the community because of that. And it started with that entrepreneurship mindset. Number two, Robert's rich dad said, true learning takes energy, passion, and a burning desire. What are examples of when this has proven true in your life? What's one lesson you never forgot and why? Well, it is just this. What I talked about for me is this is a lesson that I'm in, like currently walking, is to, do it scared. You know what I mean? Like I'm scared. I don't have like I said, this is the first time in my life where I don't have a 9 to 5, and I am, just betting on me. I'm betting on me. I'm trusting God. I'm walking in faith, and I've created multiple programs that I feel like I know for sure, have benefited people, and I feel like this is just the beginning. I have so many things in my mind that God has given me. I have retreats for families. It is the family structure that I feel like is lost, especially in our community, in the African American community. And so I'm very passionate about helping to build the family structure. When I think about all the things that were lacking in my childhood, it starts with there was a lack of communication. And so I'm really big on communication. I'm really big on teaching the woman, the man, the wife, the husband, the children, how to talk to each other, how to see from one another's perspective, to help them to get to the other side, to have an understanding, to help navigate what I call the elephant in the room conversations with yourself and with those people that you love, so that y'all can get to the other side of peace. And so, and at this point in my life, like, that's not even optional. As scary as it is, I don't want to do anything else. That is a number one lesson, and it is all stemming from sharing those scary things that somebody might judge you on. Sharing those stories that don't make you look as bright, I guess, or as light as people believe you are, or whatever. It's like breaking down again the stigma of everything is perfect, or everything gotta be perfect, everything has to be perfect, or we have to present perfect. There are no perfect beings on this side of heaven. The holiest of holiest of persons have made mistakes and do. And so that is my passion, is just to bring authenticity, bring vulnerability, to the conversation, to families, so that we can grow together and maybe, get back to a sense of community with each other, where we care enough about each other to do the work on ourselves, because we only have that control of ourselves. But when I show up better, when I make an intention to show up better, I'm going to show up better for the world. Right. And so that's my why. Number 3 is, would the pay rate of 10 cents an hour and then nothing an hour have stirred you in the same direction as Robert? I would say definitely yes. Even in 1956, like, I was thinking about that when I was reading it, even in 1956, for 10 cents an hour to nothing, in his little mind, all he was doing was wanting to buy his little comic books. So we always have, like, I know I have in my mind already, when I was getting my paycheck, like, it was spent before I got it. You know what I mean? So to go from I'm working so that I can get and do and be able to do this, and then, man, I'm working and I don't have nothing to show for it. I think it definitely would have bothered me. But there have been times in my life, like even when I was in nursing school, and I can remember I was only making $6 an hour as an aide, and I can remember my aunt calling me saying it's a company here. It's called Train. It is where most of people go. Is very significant. You can make a lot of money. And she said at that point, and she said Train is hiring. She said, baby, you need to go over there. I saw in the paper where Train is hiring, and they paying people $10 an hour. You need to go over there. And I was like, at that time I was making $6 an hour as a home health aide, but I was in nursing school. And so for me, it was the $6 an hour and the lessons, and the exposure that I was getting with this family that I was working with. They had 7 children in the home, and 6 of them had disabilities. And so for me, the learning and the pouring and the joy that I had in my spirit working in that home, I was already getting paid $10 an hour. You know what I mean? It was worth it to me to stay where I was making that $6. And I knew that more was coming once I graduated from school. And so it was worth the wait to me. So I could definitely see how the 10 cents an hour would have, like, oh my God, I want to get my stuff. But I have had that time where I felt like I could do this for nothing because I know down the road I'm going to learn, or what I have to gain is going to be way more than what anybody is going to pay me. So number 4 is it fear that drives most people to work? Are there other factors at play? I think people are afraid. I mean, you got to pay your bills. You want to, you want to do certain things. You want to look a certain way. Excuse me. You don't want to be the poor people or the dirty people, or, you know what I mean, or consider any of those things. So fear definitely, I think, drives people to work. Are there other factors in play? I mean, I can't think of one at this moment. Number 5, is the temptation strong to think that more money will soothe that fear? Why is it that such a common reaction? Is the temptation strong to think that more money will soothe that fear? And why is that such a common reaction? Because it does feel that way. That's what we've been taught. We've been taught to go to school. When you go to school, you'll make, a certain amount of money. You go back to school to make more money. You know what I mean? That's just the programming, I think, that's out there. Um, that's what we've been taught. I mean, that's just what we've been taught. It's the American dream, right? So you can buy your white your big house with your white picket fence, and have your dog and get married, and be happy, right? That's the dream that's been sold since we were kids. And so number 6, what's an example from your life when you reacted with your emotions? What's a time when you were able to observe your emotions instead and choose your thoughts? That's a good question. What's an example from your life when you reacted with your emotions? I'm very emotional. I am very emotional, and I've learned that about myself. I didn't know that I was, actually, but I think a lot of women are emotional beings, and we do respond from an emotional place. Um, and so um, I think, because I'm thinking a lot about my brother these days. I just think of a time when I was I was divorced. I got married early, 17. I was pregnant and a senior in high school. I got married. Um, so crazy. So graduated from high school. Let me say this. Had my daughter April 27th, 1995. Turned 18 May 14th, 1995. Graduated from high school May 27th, 1995. And then I got married July 7th, 1995. And that was like a whirlwind, all in itself. And 2 years later, or 18 months later, wasn't even a whole 2 years, my husband came home and said he didn't want to be married anymore. So we did this back and forth for a little while. He said he wanted, then he didn't, then he said he was, all that stuff. But then it got to a point where, okay, it ended. And so fast forward a few years now, I am in a place where I'm in nursing school. I'm about to graduate from LVN school, and I'm talking to this guy, and I just did not want to, at that time when me and my ex-husband split, my daughter was like 18 months. I didn't want to raise a child by myself, mainly because I watched the difference of my mom divorcing from my stepfather, and what a decline in finances and life that we had. We went from stability, having more than enough food, and having, you know, going on trips, and just the stability of it all, of having that 2-parent household, to I mean, and just the lessons and everything that my stepdad taught us and all that stuff, and having someone that wasn't my father, that was that father figure that loves me, you know, and I got lessons from him and all of the stuff. So just all that it encompassed, I wanted that for my daughter. And so I didn't want to raise this girl by myself. I didn't sign up for that. And me and my ex-husband had talked about that. Like, I didn't want to raise this baby girl by myself. And so nevertheless, so I was going to get married again. So, and what was the deal was that I was talking to this guy. He was saying that he was in love with me, but I was telling him, you know, I really wasn't in love with him. And he knew that. I was very honest about that. But it was, you know, I knew I could grow to love him. And so, because he was a lovable person, it's just that I wasn't in love with him at that point. And so I was going to get married again. He had asked me. I was like, oh, yes. And, you know, he gave me this idea of, you know, us being able to build and grow together. He had a great job. I was thinking I was going to dream from nursing school, our incomes together. We would have a nice living. He was a great father. He was raising his son. The mother had left and want no parts of it. And so for me, I'm thinking, this is great. I know he's going to be a great father for my daughter. And so I was making that decision from an emotional standpoint, right? And this is why I feel like it's so important to live who you are authentically. That wasn't who I was authentically, right? But I thought at that time I was doing the right thing and making the right decision for my daughter. And so it ended up, I moved across the country to be with this man, and my brother was very upset with me. And I remember saying to my brother, you know, this is my life. You know, I was very emotional about it. Like, I didn't feel like anybody talked to me to really ask me why or how I was feeling, and I don't even know if I was even able to voice all of that at that period of time, but that's why I was doing it. And my brother was very upset with me. Why are you moving all the way across the country to be with this man? You don't even really know him. You know, what about your family here? Like, and I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not about you, it's about me. This is my life. You know, we got into this big argument, and we didn't speak for a couple years. And so I know that I respond in a very emotional way. And so I've been very conscious about that. So that was definitely an example when I reacted. That was like the first thing that came to my head. When I've acted emotional, what's a time when you were able to observe your emotions instead and choose your thoughts? Well, it's now, actually. It's when I choose relationships now. At this point in my life, I'm very intentional. And so, whereas before I'm very much a jumper, I jump into relationships. I would jump into relationships and then I think about it later. Or I would be in a situation, I'm like, oh man, this is really what I thought it was going to be. Or this is not who I thought he was, because I wasn't taking the time to get to know the person. So, so just recently, you know, I had somebody that was, you know, I was talking to. And because I know what I like, I know what I want, I know what I need, I'm able to voice that, I'm able to communicate it. And I'm very intentional, I'm very upfront about it. This is what I need. Can you give it to me? Can you, or can you not? There's nothing emotional about that. It is, you know, this is what I need. Can you give it or can't you? It's a choice, right? And so, if you can't give it, I'm okay with that. It's not like it's a big hole, whatever. But it is, okay, you're not my person and I'm out. You know what I mean? Because I'm just very much not about wasting anybody's time. And I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want you wasting mine. Like, I know what I want. And so that is where I am now. And so that is definitely I'm definitely able to observe my emotions instead of choosing your thought. what's a time when you were able to observe your emotions instead and choose your thoughts? So that was definitely just this last few weeks ago. I was like, and I kind of went over it like, am I overreacting? I was like, no, you're not. It's pointless. It's pointless. You said what you need, they can't give it. What's the point? And I definitely was not like that. This is definitely new territory for me. Number 7, are you rich or poor? More susceptible Are the rich or poor more susceptible to those controlling emotions of fear and greed? What do you think that is? Are the rich or poor more susceptible to those controlling emotions of fear and greed? What do you think that is? Well, are the rich or the poor more susceptible to those controlling emotions of fear or greed? I think that when you're poor, you are more emotional. When you have a poor mentality, when you don't have the money that you need to have, it does put you in an emotional state because, when I've had periods of time, I mean, even, recently being in this situation that I'm in where I have, responded in more of an emotional state because of fear, because I was afraid. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I don't know how we're going to eat. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what, you know what I mean? So you come from, it does put you in a place of when you don't have the money that you need to do the things that you need to do, especially when you have like a little person that is dependent on you, then it's different. You know what I mean? You do act from a place of fear. I'm not so much sure about greed. But I do know it's more so fear because you're just trying to continue to provide and continue to do at the same time. I know for me, it's trying to follow your dreams and, understanding that it's going to get better in the long run. It's that faith thing. You know what I mean? Like, am I able to go out and do the things that I want to do right now? No. Will I be able to? I do believe that. I do believe that if I just suffer a little bit right now and, keep walking through this darkness, I don't know when it's going to be over, but I know it's going to be over soon, you know? So that's how I feel about it. Number 8, do you think most people realize they are stuck in the rat race? Why or why not? No, I don't think most people realize they're stuck because that's what they're used to doing. It is very subconsciously controlling you, right? Very subconsciously controlling you. And so the subconscious is you're going through things and you don't even know that you're in it. That's why I teach what I teach again, because we are in so many things and we don't even realize that we're stuck. We're stuck in this mindset that we have to be, or maybe that we're supposed to suffer. Some of us are suffering unnecessarily because there's some unworthiness in us. You know what I mean? Like it's so much stuff. Like I can go on. We'll cover it this month because the subconscious is very strong and it plays on, again, your emotions that deal with the depression, the anxiety, the panic attacks, the unprocessed trauma. It all plays a role. It all makes a difference. And so that is the thing. So that is what we just read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was the lessons and study session of chapter 1. The rich don't work the rich don't work for money. And that has been interesting. I will share real quick. Last night, as I sat with my thoughts, I just believe that there are no coincidences in this world. And what I got from chapter 1 was this: pay attention. Pay attention. When we talked about him attending school, the two of them were the only two kids that were quote unquote the poor kids in the school. And it is, what situations are you in? And where are you at? Where have you been and why? And where has that led you to? Like, is it a coincidence that you're in the place that you're in right now, or that you've been the places that you've been? How can you use that to your advantage? Because all things are working together, whether you can see them or not, the good, the bad, and the crazy. This all started because one little boy told them that they were the poor kids and they couldn't come to the party. I wonder where these little boys are right now, because this man, Mr. Robert Kawasaki, and I don't know where his friend is, but some of the richest people on one of the richest men in the world right now, right? But they started because somebody told them what they couldn't do. So what are you doing? Are you allowing somebody to tell you what you can't do and just believing it? Are you going out and doing something about it? Number two is, who are you hanging with? My thought was, when it said two kids, I was like, that was a blessing for him to have somebody. He done got his partner right off the bat. They was 9 years old. So my thing is, are your friends thinking like you're thinking? Are your friends thinking like you're thinking? I sat up and I thought about, like, the people that are in my life, my friends, my, people that I hang around, that I've hung around these past few years, even that I've hung around since I've been here in Texas. I prayed, Lord, please remove the snakes from my life and let me have some good, genuine people like me. I prayed for that because I just felt like I was surrounded by people that, were snakes. People that smile in your face and talk about you behind your back. I was surrounded by people like that. So I prayed, Lord, please remove the snakes from my life. So what are your friends doing? What who are you hanging with? Right? So I thought about, you know, my Black Nurses Rock family, as one of the first set of group of people that I met when I prayed that prayer. That's been like 7, 8 years ago. All those people are everybody in Black Nurses Rock. The people encouraged me to get to the next level of my life. They were on a trajectory that I didn't even know existed for me. I didn't even see myself doing anything more than what I was doing. And I was surrounded. I went to a conference with Black nurses. I went to this conference, the first conference I went to. So then I'm surrounded by nurses that are millionaires. What? Nurses can be millionaires. What? By nurses that had their own businesses, that had multiple businesses, nurses that were pouring in to other people, nurses that were going back to school, nurses that were doctors. What? What? It was an endless possibility of things that I can do. There's endless possibility to things that you can do in this world when you open yourself up to it. Are you just so closed? Are you just so in this box where you think, oh, I can only be, oh, that doesn't matter for me. Oh, I could never do that. Oh, what are you listening to? Who are you hanging with? Are you hanging with people that ain't doing nothing but the same things every day? Are you hanging with people that has you thinking like, dang, every time I'm talking to my girlfriends, my friends, somebody doing something. We're encouraging each other. My sister friends, we're encouraging each other to do something. Somebody doing something. Somebody working on themselves personally. My best friend Karima, guess what she's doing? She's working on herself personally. Don't we all need to do that? My sister friend Nita, that's what she doing. She working on it. Just got an MP. She going to school. She got a plan. She gonna work this job for this long, and then she gonna do this. My girlfriend Kiana, guess what they doing? She got her own business. She doing community events and things like that. What? My girlfriend Haya, what's she doing? She working her business. She going back to school. She got a plan. Her and her husband, they going to do this. They got their plan together. My girlfriend Colony, sister friend, these are my sister friends. Colony, she got her own business. She's working her 9 to 5, but she got her business on the side. She's doing and seeing she want more for her life. Everybody on the next level. She running a marathon right now. She preparing to run a marathon. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Who are you hanging with? Are the people that you hanging with inspiring you to get to another level in your life? Are you just comfortable sitting in complacency, doing the same things that you've been doing? If you are, I mean, that's what you're cool doing. But if you're not, though, if at night you're having dreams about doing something else, if God has given you a vision and you got some other stuff that you know you have some gifts inside of you that you haven't used, what you doing? Number 3 is, what idea do you have? So they talked about the mom. The mom was like, look, y'all got this little toothpaste thing going on over here. Y'all got a couple more days, and then I'm about to be throwing this out. Who pushing you? That pushed them to like, oh God, we need to hurry up and push production. We need to hurry up and get ourselves together. Are you encouraging your child's gift? Do you have a little one that you're thinking, oh, she's just a child? They ain't got nothing going on yet. These babies was 9 years old thinking about this. What are you doing to encourage his or her dream? Right? Are you speaking life into your children? Let alone yourself, because you ain't doing what you want to do, right? Even though the poor dad, didn't know the answers, he still encouraged them. He still supported them, right? That was number 4, encouraging dad. Even though he didn't know, he still encouraged them. You ain't got to have all the answers, but don't be going killing nobody else's dream. Don't be going killing that baby's dream, right? Steve Harvey talks about when he was a little boy, he went to school and everybody was talking about what they were supposed to be, what they were going to be, what you want to be when you grow up. Steve Harvey said he watched TV. He said, I want to be on TV. He said his teacher told him, ain't no way, you can't be on TV. Why would you say something like that? Called his mother. His mother said, when your father get home, he going to deal with you. Why would you be up at that school saying something crazy like that? Steve Harvey panicking. Oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get a whooping when my daddy get home. Oh my God. His dad get home. Him and the mother get into an argument. Why can't he say he want to be on TV? Why can't he be on TV? The mother, you know that's crazy. Ain't how this boy going to be on TV. He ain't going to never be on TV. Why you up there saying some crazy stuff like that? Steve Harvey said his father took him upstairs. He talked to him. He said, what they want you to say? What do they want you to do? What they want you to say you want to be? He said, I don't know, Dad, like a firefighter, police officer, I don't know, whatever. He said, well, write that on the paper. He said, but you keep your paper and put it up in your drawer. He said, and you look at it every day. He said, if you want to be on TV, then you be on TV. It ain't nothing like a daddy. It ain't nothing like a daddy encouraging their child. Nothing like it. Nothing like a daddy saying, I'm proud of you. His dad said, keep going. Don't quit. I'm proud of you. Do you know how many kids are striving grown people, just to hear their daddy say, I'm proud of you. To hear their mama say, I'm proud of you. Do you know what that would do to your child? For you to just encourage them? And I'm saying that because this man's story could have ended right there. It could have ended right there. It could have ended that day. How you respond to people and how you respond to their dream makes all the difference in the world. It affects what you say to your children and how you say it. They hear it the rest of their lives. Whether you were encouraging, whether you sometimes said some negative. I was one of those parents because I was young. Not making any excuses, but I was. I didn't realize all that I was saying wasn't the best way to teach or say something. Very sarcastic. Very, spitfire and to the point. Very say whatever's on my mind and it comes straight out the way that it is. No chaser. That's how you get it. I didn't realize what an effect that would have on my oldest daughter. I didn't know. I've said some things to her that was not very nice. Now, I will say, whenever it came to a dream, though, your girl was always right there supporting a dream. Okay, I didn't do that. I wasn't that mother. But nevertheless, I'm saying that how you respond to things, how you respond to people, how you respond to your children affects their mental health and has long-lasting effects. Is this about, feeling guilty and shame or whatever you didn't do? No, it's not. It's not. I give myself some grace every day because where I lacked, I made up for in other things. Right? But nevertheless, it is taking that look within while I'm pointing fingers at what everybody else saying and doing and whatever else. And I could say and do what everybody else said and did. I got 3 fingers pointing back at me. I can take accountability and say I haven't always said the right things. I haven't always made the right choices. I haven't always done the right things in my finances, in relationships, in situationships, in friendships, and loving myself enough. And that's why we're here. Because I want to tell you that it's okay. Nobody on this side of heaven is perfect. But what we're here doing is striving to be better than we were the day before. That's it. Not perfect. Just better. Just better. And hopefully that can begin to peel so you can step out of all those subconscious things that are on you, that are holding you hostage, right? The fear, the shame, the guilt, the negative self-talk, the doubt, the jealousy, the envy, all the things that are keeping you from purpose. Because one thing I know for sure, you can't walk in purpose with all that gook on you, right? You can't. So, in closing, it's my grief book, y'all. I forgot to do it yesterday, but it is May the 4th. This book is 365 days of prayer for grief and loss because I believe that we are all grieving. And what is grief? Grief is simply a loss of self, a loss of relationship, a loss of an idea, a loss of your life that you thought you were going to live. right? A loss of friendship, not just death, not just the death of a loved one. And so May the 4th, it says, the feet of Jesus. Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. That is Psalms 95:6. And the prayer says, loving Lord, I bring all that I am before you again today. Here I am, laid out like an open book before you. I humble myself in your presence. My heart longs to be met by your love once more. I honor you in all that you've done in my life up until now. I remember your faithfulness as I look back on my life with a lens of loving perspective. You may not always move how I expect you to move. In fact, you rarely do, but you always come through. You often weave things together more wonderfully than I could imagine. With the past in mind, I bring myself back into the present with you. Fill my heart with courage as I soak in your mercy. As I soak in your mercy and grace anew. Saturate me in your kindness and peace. You are so much greater than I can envision. I long for the day when I'll see you face to face. And the question of the day is, what happens in your heart when you humbly offer your attention to God? That is in closing our faith walk. It's not about, converting anybody over, but it is understanding that there is something bigger and better out there in this world. There is good and there's evil out there in this world, and knowing how to navigate it, knowing to understand that when you get all that negative self-talk, that is demonic, and you need to pluck the devil off your shoulder. That's necessary for you to know. It is necessary for you to have the tools and how to play the game while you're on this side of heaven. And that's what we're doing. We're equipping ourselves with the tools that we need, and faith is one of those foundational tools that helps you to understand, I don't know when my finances are going to get better. I don't know how long I'm going to be walking in this. I don't know how long I'm going to feel this way. But I know, again, it's going to get better. Trusting and believing. The trouble don't last always. Yes. But that's it, y'all. It's May 4th, Thursday, 2023. You guys have an amazing day on purpose. It's your girl, Michelle Franklin, Miss Community Builder herself, Miss Michelle D.I., because there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And so I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll be getting into chapter 2. I said we're going to be getting into chapter 2. Lesson 2 is why teach financial literacy. Why teach financial literacy? That is tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a good one.